Just a week ago, we had news of an updated Yamaha MT-09 for 2021 with a whole bunch of changes, including more power and torque, a redesigned frame shedding a significant amount of weight, and a massive update to the electronics package. And if that wasn't enough already, today we got the first sight of the brand new premium spec SP model. So in this video, we'll look over all of the differences between the two new bikes and find out what makes this SP version extra special. But before we get started, if you're new here and you want to see more of the latest new bikes for 2021, then please do remember to hit subscribe. I'll be covering as many of them as I possibly can over the next couple of months, so be sure to subscribe if you want to hear about them as soon as they go live. Before we dive into the SP, let's take a look at the base specs of the new 2021 MT-09. There's a full video about it linked to in the description in case you haven't seen it already, but I'll run through the highlights again now. The most exciting update for most people is the bumping capacity from 847cc to 889. This was achieved by increasing the stroke and resulted in a 4 horsepower increase in peak power to 118 at 10,000 RPM. Torque is also up on the previous generation and now produced lower down the rev range with a peak of 93 Nm at 7,000 RPM as opposed to the 87.5 Nm at 8,500 RPM. The engine is also now Euro 5 compliant with a 9% increase in fuel efficiency as well. A redesign of most of the major components resulted in a significant weight saving, whilst the new exhaust system is responsible for an improved stereo sound. There's also an up and down quick shifter as standard, revised gear ratios in first and second, and now a ride-by-wire throttle. The frame has been redesigned from the ground up and now uses a high-tech die casting manufacturing process to create thinner frame walls which contribute to some pretty substantial weight savings. Switching the subframe from steel to aluminium, as well as redesigning the swing arm and some new spin-forged wheels, all combine for a total weight reduction of 4 kilograms versus the last generation at 189 kilogram total wet weight. A new swing arm pivot and improved suspension front and rear contribute to better handling, whilst a whole suite of new rider aids have been introduced to keep things in check. It's inherited the 6-axis IMU that's been used on the R1 since 2015, which opens up lean-sensitive traction control, slide control, wheelie control, and brake control, including ABS, all of which can be administered through a new 3.5-inch full-color TFT screen. But the main talking point of the new MT-09 has to be the styling, with a radical new approach that does away with any superficial bodywork. You can see that there aren't even any side panels to cover the rec reg, but it's the new LED headlight with a single projector in the middle that's really divided opinion. Personally, I think it'll age well and it's a bit ahead of its time, but I'm well aware that not everybody shares that sentiment. Let me know what you think of it if you haven't already down in the comments below. So what's new on the brand new 2021 version of the Yamaha MT-09 SP? Let's get the most obvious one out the way, and that's the finish. Influenced by their premium R1M sports bike, the SP gets a blue and black multi-toned paint scheme on the fuel tank and air ducts, which Yamaha say gives it an even more aggressive and exclusive look as their top-of-the-range Hyper Naked. They also say that the super sport style colours reinforce its sporty character and highlight the close technological links with the R1M, which is probably fair given that, as we've already said, the likes of the 6-axis IMU carried over to the MT-09 for this model year. In the electronics department, and on top of that new IMU and TFT dash, the MT-09 SP is also equipped with a cruise control system. For motorway riding, it can be activated at speeds of at least 50 km per hour and in 4th gear and above. After it's been set, it can be increased in 2 km per hour increments by pushing the cruise control button, or steadily increased by holding the button. And of course, it's immediately disabled whenever the brakes, clutch or throttle are used. Personally, I really like having cruise control on a bike, and I can't see why it isn't fitted to more ride-by-wire throttle enabled machines. So this is definitely a nice feature to have if you do a lot of motorway riding, as it can really take the ache out of your throttle wrist. For curvier roads, the suspension has also been upgraded with a premium version of the fully adjustable 41mm upside-down KYB fork. This version gets a DLC or diamond-like coating on the fork stanchions, which give a super smooth and responsive action, and they're now also equipped with low and high-speed compression damping adjusters for more accurate tuning. But perhaps more significant is the upgrade to the rear shock, with the KYB shock of the standard MT-09 making way for a premium Öhlins unit on the SP. It offers full adjustability for compression and rebound damping, as well as a remote preload adjuster for ease of use. Yamaha claim that this shock brings supersport levels of handling precision to the MT-09. Elsewhere, there are some neat finishing items which elevate the look of the MT-09 SP. There's a double-stitched seat with contrasting stitching, an anodized brushed aluminium swing arm as opposed to the black version of the standard bike, and some SP-specific components like anodized levers and handlebars, smoked brake fluid reservoirs, and a black rear sprocket. There's no word on pricing as of yet, but the previous generation cost £8,999 when it was released in 2018. That was only about 800 quid more than the standard bike, which seems like a pretty good deal for some of the upgrades that are included. So let's hope for a similarly pleasing price on this 2021 version. Yamaha expect it in dealers as of spring next year. Let me know what you think of the new Yamaha MT-09 SP down in the comments below. The looks have definitely grown on me, but I do like that storm fluo finish on the standard bike and I'd find it hard to resist. That said, cruise control is a massive bonus to me, as is the upgraded suspension, so I'd love to know which you'd pick down in the comments below. And if you're new here and you want to see more videos like this, hit subscribe and I'll catch you next time.